There is less than 1 week left until the start of Leagues 4 and me with many others are planning their best possible route to success. Or I guess some people would call that fun, but to my understanding that's not allowed in RuneScape. So instead, in this video I want to show you the 3 regions I'm going to pick out of the 10 possible options and how I came to that conclusion. But to understand what regions are best, we first need to pick a combat style and lock it in for the rest of the leagues. 3 options: Mage, Melee, Ranged. Honestly, all equally good. There really isn't any bad choices here. Pick the one you enjoy the most, pick the one you haven't done before, pick the one you're most comfortable with. For me, I've always gone range or magic route every single leagues, so this time I want to discover melee. And the main reason is because I feel like there are so many options for melee weapons compared to the other 2 roles. You really cannot pick any wrong combination of 3 regions for melee relic. There are good weapons in almost any scenario in these leagues. It also helps that with melee relic, Jagex is bringing back some obsolete weapons that have almost no use in the main game. OP Maul, Dragon Longsword, Leaf Bladed Battle Axe, even Dragon Battle Axe, and few others that are going to absolutely dominate the early game in Leagues 4. So the choice is melee relic, and I will say right off the bat the most popular choice likely is gonna be Desert, Ascarnia and Mauritania for people who wanna pick melee relic but also wanna have a chance for the Dragon Trophy. But I think there could be something in other regions as well that people haven't put much thought into, so I wanna go over every region, the downside and upsides and what they have to offer. Let me start by saying I think Ascarnia and Desert are just too good to pass up on. At first I was thinking of giving up on Ascarnia and just going with Kandarin, but then I realized realistically the only 2 things I would want with melee relic in that region would be Piety and Torture Amulet, which I don't think it's worth dedicating an entire region on those 2 items. I do understand from magic relic perspective because Occult and Dormante Bracelet in Kandarin give you 15% magic damage boost, which is actually insane number for all magic users, so you kinda have to go with that. But like I said at the beginning, melee relic just has so much more to offer in different regions, so you're not locked into a blaze. Now I do agree that Kandarin has, in my opinion, one of the easiest points, so if you're looking for a Dragon Trophy or you just quickly want to get to that tier 7 relic and you also enjoy doing content in Kandarin like Demonic Gorillas or Kraken, then sure, Kandarin is an absolutely okay region to take. I just debated myself whether if I wanted to take an entire region for one prayer, and the answer was no. So Desert because it offers Soul Reaper Axe for melee, which I think is gonna be literally the best in slot weapon out of all options. Maybe Sight can compete with Soul Reaper Axe in certain places, but otherwise the axe is gonna be disgustingly OP with the melee relic. Also, Desert has Fang, which is a great alternative, and Desert compared to a few years ago just has so much good content that it would be a shame to not pick it. And Ascarnia is simple: Primordial Boots, Full Dorva, Dragon Defender. Also, it has all 4 God Swords, which I feel like could be secretly very OP. 3 thick Vandas God Swords sounds very juicy to me. Not to mention, Ascarnia will have the best prayer training method in Leagues 4, which is best control points. I think it's estimated you can get up to 8 million prayer experience an hour. Plus, best control also gives Herblo boxes, which was estimated like 700k experience an hour. So overall, to me, that's a really good region to take. Oh, and I forgot, Ascarnia of course has Maxscape, which I do want to get at the end of the leagues, plus getting all 3 sets of void gear is gonna take you like 1 hour maximum. So it's decided, Desert plus Ascarnia as 2 regions, and then I started thinking what could be the final one. So I went through all the other regions one by one to see which one fills my needs the most. I decided against Mauritania, like I said, pretty early on, because firstly, I don't really care about Theater of Bloods, at least in these leagues. I'd rather do that raid in the main game. Yes, I know. Full Justiciar with the melee relic is disgustingly OP, and Sight is even more OP. And I think most people who pick melee relic are gonna go Mauritania, because it's not a bad region by all means. But in general, I just don't like the tasks there, and spending an entire region on TOB just maybe isn't worth it for me. The only other cool thing in Mauritania would be the full Tarok set, which I do admit sounds really fun. You can slap 90s every 3 tick, which is insane DPS. But I also feel like that is useful in very niche cases and overall not as good as other weapons I mentioned before. So Mauritania is out, Kandarin also out, and I have Fremennik, Wilderness, Prifddinas and Guren left. Prifddinas is also pretty much a no-go. I was thinking maybe the Salah plate could be a tech somewhere. I was also thinking of going Trickster Relic and just making max cash stack with thieving elves because you get like 9 minutes of AFK time while thieving, which is insane. But I also realized that taking an entire region just to make some money isn't very smart in the long run. Plus, if you go melee relic, doing stuff like Salra is gonna be an absolute pain. Furthermore, at the start I was thinking, oh, maybe Serp Helm could be fun for melee users. But then I realized that we literally have Serp Helm built into the relic. So Prettiness this year is a no-go. It is definitely meant for ranging though, like I know a lot of people have put it down, but if you like doing gauntlets, getting a Bofa should literally be like a 5-hour task, which means securing basically one of the best ranging weapons for the rest of the leagues. Plus we have seen a lot of great skilling relics this leagues, so having crystal tools seems like a no-brainer if you want to go for max or print infinite money. Hopefully we'll see more melee choices for Priv in the future, but for now that's a no-go from me. I am also not picking Wilderness because, well, first of all, Wilderness bosses aren't instanced, and there is gonna be a very finite amount of words you can kill these bosses. Like at any moment during Venenatis, someone can come in, attack the boss once, leave, and GG, your 5 minutes is wasted. Plus I already know there are gonna be insane tasks for Corporeal Beast that require like 1000 KC to complete, and weird stuff like Eternal Glory, which is an insane task to complete in temporary game mode on an Iron Man account. Don't get me wrong, if there was one shield I would love to get this leagues, it would be the Elysian shield. I think it's around 1 in 800 drop rate, so not the worst grind, but since the melee relic already increases your defense by 50%, that's basically built in Elysian. I would say if we get like a nice spec relic, Voidwaker is gonna smash everything. It should be like 1 in 60 for the Voidwaker pieces, so realistically like a 10-hour grind if nobody grieves you. But let's be honest, as someone who has played 3 leagues now, someone is gonna grieve you, I promise you that. All the Wilderness weapons are gonna be 2 tick weapons, which is also insanely OP, but to be honest I think we've already established that everything is OP during these leagues. I mentioned at least 10 or so weapons that can be contested for the best weapon slots. If you are going mage though, Wildy really isn't a bad option. A Cursed Scepter, Imbued Capes, Dragon Eye Ropes, Malediction Ward, plus I think it's the easiest way to get Dragon Pickaxe. So Wildy honestly isn't that bad, it's just not the best for melee options. So I talked through all that and I was left with 2 more regions. Which one of these is gonna be my third region, Fremennik or Kurent? Honestly, both good options. There really isn't any wrong choice here. Let's start with Fremennik. One thing I think many players don't think about is that Fremennik is the only region out of all that we have that gives you full POH, which is so incredibly valuable for an Iron Man to have. And since for most people money isn't a problem, this is definitely a benefit that shouldn't be overlooked. I actually did this in previous leagues. In Shattered Relics, I was rank 1 construction and I got 99 construction on day 1. I decorated my house and for the next 2 months I was good to go. It helped me immensely set up all teleports, rejuvenation pool, fixing my barrows, and so many other things that your POH gives you. That aside, since we already established that Desert is gonna be one of the choices, that along with Fremennik you get best in slot rings. Desert Treasure 2 plus Dagonet Kings equals 4 best rings in the game. The only other reason I would pick Fremennik is Basilisk Jaw, but since I'm already picking Ascania, we have Torva Full Helm, which is actually better. One thing I would love to see for range relic users who pick Fremennik is what the Venator bow is gonna do in these leagues. I mean, it's a 2 attack cycle weapon, so it's gonna be as fast as Blowpipe and it fires 2 extra projectiles, plus the range relic also has a chance to fire an extra projectile, so you just have projectiles flying all over the place. It's fast, it attacks multiple NPCs at once. Someone please test this out for me. And that's about it with Fremennik honestly. It's not a bad choice for melee by all means. Vorkat, Melee Maspa, Duke, Dagonet Kings, all viable options, and I also think Fremennik is gonna be the best points per hour, so if you're looking for a Dragon Trophy, this is a good pick. But with heavy heart I have to say I will not pick Fremennik this time around, which means we have 1 more region left and that is Kurent. Now, let me start off by listing things that are good for melee relic in Kurent. Brimstone Ring, Dragon Gloss, Elder Maul, Dragon Warhammer, Din's Bulwark, Arclight, and Soul Reaper Axe. Those are just few reasons why I'm going Kurent. Not to mention Seiya has so many skilling options, which allows me to get the max cape from Ascarnia. The main reason why I pick Kurent is that Vardorvis is the easiest and probably the only way for me to efficiently get Soul Reaper Axe. And yes, I do know Duke exists as well. I think I can genuinely use my Dragon Longsword to grind Vardorvis with the melee relic, and once I have the Soul Reaper Axe, all doors open up for me. I can do both Tombs of a Mascot and Chambers with the axe. I can do basically any Slayer task. I can go to Nex with the axe, or honestly any of the God Wars bosses. Of course besides Armadillo. And I can make my Din's Bulwark build come true, which is an entirely different topic on its own. By the way, if you are gonna do the Din's Bulwark strat, I think going full Torva is better than full Justiciar. I'm just throwing that out there. You have more damage and the defense is almost similar. Anyways, I think Seiya is like a better version of Kandarin. It just has so much to offer. Farming Guild, Winter Dot, Arceus Library, Blood Runes, Slayer tasks. It's good for glue scrolls since most steps are really easy there. You have a few decent prayer training methods, and realistically the only thing I don't want to do in Seiya is aerial fishing. That's it. Now I know what you're saying, what about Tide Farm? Well, I think Tide Farm is gonna be really good, because they updated the minigame and you get herb boxes from there now. And that's gonna be one of the better herb training methods in the game, so I don't even mind that. So yeah, for Melee Relic, I can't wait to try out all the funky weapons like Elder Maul, Sorcerer Axe, Dense Bulwark, just to see how OP they really are. So those were my 3 region choices: Desert, Ascania and Current for Melee Relic. But I would love to know what you guys are picking. Did I miss something good here? Maybe I'm just not seeing some secret tech here, but that's it from me. If you enjoyed this content, consider subscribing, and I'll see you all tomorrow with a very juicy video. I love you all very much. Bye.